Darkness pressed in, heavy and suffocating. Sarah tossed, sheets twisted around her legs. Sleep, a distant shore, remained just out of reach. Her heart pounded a frantic rhythm against her ribs. She knew what awaited her in the darkness. The nightmares always found her. She sat up, gasping for breath. Moonlight painted the room in shades of grey, casting long, eerie shadows. Each one seemed to writhe, taking on monstrous shapes in the corners of her vision. A cold sweat clung to her skin. Sleep, once a comfort, had become her tormentor. She closed her eyes, willing herself to relax, but it was too late. The tendrils of sleep were already wrapping around her, dragging her down into their depths. This time there would be no escape. The carnival awaited. She landed with a jolt, the remnants of sleep fading like smoke, dissipating into the cold, unforgiving night. Sarah stood before a rusted archway, its paint peeling like scabs, revealing the corroded metal beneath. The words "Midnight Carnival" were barely discernible, twisted into a grotesque grin that seemed to mock her very presence. She could feel the weight of unseen eyes, watching, judging, as if the shadows themselves were alive and aware of her intrusion. A chill wind whipped through the carnival grounds, carrying the scent of popcorn and decay, mingling with the faint ghostly echoes of laughter long gone. The ride stood silent and still, their skeletal frames casting long shadows in the moonlight like sentinels guarding forgotten memories. The Ferris wheel loomed in the distance, its carriages swaying gently, as if propelled by unseen hands, whispering secrets of the past. It was a carnival of shadows, steeped in a silence more terrifying than any scream, a place where time seemed to stand still. She took a hesitant step forward, the ground crunching underfoot, each sound amplified in the eerie stillness. The path was littered with broken promises, discarded toys, crushed popcorn boxes, a single child's shoe lying abandoned on its side, a testament to the joy that once was. Each step seemed to echo endlessly in the oppressive silence, a reminder of the emptiness that now filled this forsaken place. This was a place where joy had died, leaving behind only a hollow, echoing shell, a haunting reminder of what once was and what could never be again. The wind picked up, swirling around her, its cold fingers brushing against her skin, carrying whispers on its breath, whispers that seemed to come from another world. They were faint, just at the edge of hearing, but undeniably there, like ghostly echoes from a forgotten past. They spoke of forgotten dreams, of lost innocence, of memories buried deep within the shadows. These whispers told tales of a darkness that consumed all who dared enter its embrace, a darkness that was both alluring and terrifying. Sarah quickened her pace, her heart pounding in her chest, each beat echoing the growing fear within her. She passed a booth draped in faded velvet, its shelves lined with dusty prizes, remnants of a time long gone. A chipped porcelain doll stared out at her with vacant eyes, eyes that seemed to follow her every move. Beside it, a teddy bear, its fur matted and torn, seemed to grin menacingly, as if it knew a secret she did not. The whispers intensified, seeming to emanate from the very objects themselves, filling the air with a sinister energy. They were hungry whispers, filled with a deep, abiding malice, a malice that sought to consume her. She stumbled back, fear coiling in her gut like a serpent ready to strike. This was no ordinary carnival. It was a place where nightmares came to life. It was a place of nightmares, a twisted reflection of her deepest fears, a mirror to her darkest thoughts. And the whispers, she realized with a growing sense of dread, were drawing closer, wrapping around her like a shroud, pulling her deeper into the darkness. A high-pitched giggle pierced the silence, sending chills down her spine. It was a sound so eerie, so unnerving, that it seemed to echo from the very depths of the darkness surrounding her. It was a sound that spoke of madness and cruelty, a sound that could only belong to one creature, the kind of sound that made your blood run cold and your heart pound in your chest. She whirled around, her eyes searching the shadows. Every corner seemed to hide a new terror, every flicker of light a potential threat. And then she saw him, the figure that haunted her nightmares, now standing before her in the flesh. He stood beneath a flickering gaslight, his silhouette tall and skeletal. The light cast eerie shadows that danced around him, making him appear even more menacing. He wore a patchwork suit, its colors garish and obscene. The mismatched patterns seemed to mock her, adding to the surreal horror of the scene. His face was painted a grotesque parody of a smile, the red lips stretched wide, revealing rows of sharp-pointed teeth. It was a smile that promised pain and suffering, But it was his eyes that truly terrified. Eyes that seemed to bore into her soul, stripping away any semblance of safety or sanity. They were two black pits, devoid of any trace of humanity, reflecting only a cold, calculating amusement. Eyes that seemed to enjoy her fear, to revel in her helplessness. The clown took a step towards her, and the shadows seemed to cling to him, moving with an unnatural life of their own. Each step he took seemed to draw the darkness closer, suffocating her with its presence. His giggle echoed again, bouncing off the silent rides, each repetition amplifying her terror. It was a sound that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, surrounding her, trapping her. She was trapped in a nightmare, and the nightmare was closing in. The carnival, once a place of joy and laughter, had become a twisted realm of horror, and there was no escape.